Skills Clinic's back with another morning video. Once again, y'all see on my walk, man, I'm staying consistent with it. Health is wealth. We jump right into this topic I want to talk about, man. The NBA draft ended yesterday. A lot of controversial topics tying into youth basketball, man. I don't know if anybody saw what Adrian Wojnarowski, I hope I said that right, Woj, and Stephen A. Smith had a conversation basically, talking about the landscape of the NBA and where the NBA is headed and how a lot of talented teams or talented players are coming from overseas. Hopefully that lighting is better. Are coming from overseas, and a lot of these top picks are not coming from America no more. And, basically paraphrasing what Woj and Stephen A. were talking about, he's basically alluding to athletes here in America are leaving public schools and they're going to these prep schools, but they're leaving a lot of good programs as far as the public school side, good coaching. Basically, the coaches that these players are leaving from to go play prep with a bunch of stacked players, it's not translating to them learning how to play basketball the right way. And in comparison to overseas, where they're really, really strict and they teach you how to play the game the right way, they're teaching concepts, and guys are coming over here averaging, guys are coming from overseas averaging 9 points a game, and they're going lottery, top 5, top 10. And, you got players over here that, they're YouTube famous, they're Instagram famous. They're very talented, but they don't know how to play the game. And it's spilling over to the NBA. So I basically want to give my thoughts on that. And my thoughts is I agree 100%. I'm involved in AAU myself. I'm not saying this to hate on the AAU landscape as far as shoe deal or, highly rated players or prep schools or none of that. I'm not here to hate on that, but it's facts. A lot of times, we have kids that the real problem is the money that's involved in this sport. It's become a money grab. Everything is about money. So you got these handlers that are making money off the kids, making side deals on, if this kid go to this school, I get a cut back on this, or play for this AAU program and you'll get a cut back on this under the table. I ain't knocking it, get your money, but at what point do we focus on development? It's become less about development in the AAU world, even at the shoe deal level. We got some great players on the shoe deal guys, even on the independent side. But how things are working now is everybody's just getting the best players and they just rolling the ball out, put it on the floor. They're not teaching. And so when these same kids that are highly rated, if they don't have a strong family structure or a strong support system that's going to hold them accountable and tell them about themselves, when that highly rated player steps into the world of college basketball or even the NBA, and now they're getting hard coaching, they're being asked to come off the bench, they're being asked to shoot less shots, or they're being asked to work themselves into a rotation when some of these kids have never came off the bench in their lives. They're not dealing with that well. And the NBA is seeing that when they're doing these interviews, when they're getting these kids in the training camp. They're seeing that these kids can't deal with adversity because they never really dealt with adversity on an athletic level in their lives. And so you got these overseas guys who are getting good coaching, who, obviously, if they're only averaging 8, 9 points, they do understand what it takes to play a role and do what it takes to win. And they're learning that at 14, 15 years old. You look at it in America, if we got an 8th grader that's really good, 9 times out of 10, that 8th grader is probably reclassed once, maybe even twice. And, a kid can easily be in 8th grade at 15 years old playing against majority 13 and 14-year-old kids. Well, you go overseas, a 15-year-old they're playing against 20 and 21-year-olds. Like Luka played in the NBA, 2 to 3 years before he was actually in the NBA. Like, it's a different type of mindset. I know a lot of people, I got a lot of homies that's, I'm in group chats with, and they're like, man, all these overseas players and foreigners, man, they ain't all that, man. Why they drafted them? They not all that. But I'm trying to get them to understand it's not even about them being all that. It's the fact that they understand how to play basketball. See, when you understand how to play basketball, these are professional coaches, professional player development coaches, professional strength and conditioning coaches. They can give those players or teach those players how to be more athletic. They can teach those players how to use their first step better, get them on a real strength and conditioning program that's going to allow them to be more athletic. They can teach that stuff. But the thing is, they don't got to reteach how to play basketball. The guys that are coming from overseas know how to play the game. The guys that are coming from the AAU world, for the majority, and I'm not saying all, but for the majority, the guys that are coming from this AAU world, this prep world, this reclass 2-3 times world, they're talented, but they don't know how to play basketball, let alone know what it takes to be a part of a team and take a less of a role or be asked to come off the bench. They don't know how to deal with that. And that is the result we're seeing right now in the NBA, is that these GMs are tired of investing their money into these kids that don't even want to come off the bench and think everything's supposed to be handed to them the moment they get to training camp. It's getting scary, man. And I tell people, y'all looking at the NBA taking all these overseas players, go look at some of these D1 rosters. These D1s are starting to be on the same tip. Or they've been on it, but these D1 teams are having more overseas players on these rosters, man. And it's because they don't have to deal with the extra baggage. We have to do better. And I'm saying we because I'm involved with AAU myself. We have to be better on holding our kids accountable. Just because a player is number one in the country don't mean he can't be coached. Okay? Just because a player is giving your team a sponsorship don't mean that he can't be coached. Coach him. And if he leaves, he leaves. If he leave, he leaves. That's on him. He got to deal with that one day on why he left or why he couldn't deal with coaching. But, a lot of these programs, a lot of these coaches, a lot of these trainers are scared to tell their highly rated, number one ranked kid the truth. You got to be able to tell them, hey, yo, that's a bad shot you took. Hey, man, you got to fix your attitude. And a lot of these coaches don't want to be that guy to tell the truth to some of these guys because they're scared that the kid is going to walk out and leave. But you're hurting the kid in the long run. Long run meaning NBA. When you're ranked that high, you're on the board to being a pro, an NBA player. So you not wanting that kid to leave your AAU program or stop training with you or whatever because you don't want to tell that kid the truth. You're hurting that kid in the long run because when they get to the NBA, they're going to deal with that. They're going to be told what to do. They're going to be asked to play a role. They're going to be asked to earn their stripes. And when you're not doing it at the youth level, you get overseas guys that get picked before you. You got to be better, man. We got to be better. All I'm gonna say is for my independent folks that's doing AAU, keep doing it. Keep developing the right kids because I think the future of this game is going to look just like this. You'll still have shoe deal kids that make it to the league, no doubt about it. Some of them will be franchise players, no doubt about it. But I'm going to tell you something. The kids that play the game the right way, even if they don't go D1 right away, even if they got to go JC first, and even if they got to do a D2 for 2-3 years, like my boy Jalen Wills, shout out Jalen Wills, who got picked by the Grizzlies straight out of Sacramento. I remember that kid when he was in high school, went to Sonoma State first, then went to Washington State. Now he's a draft pick. Independent programs. Shout out Rose City. That's what he played for, Rose City out of Sacramento. They're an independent program. They're on the Puma next circuit, but they're independent. They were independent when he was there. Those are the type of kids that we're going to have to keep reading because those are the kids that are going to really fill out these rosters and last longer than a lot of these entitled kids that are playing on the shoe circuits. So independent programs, you have value. Even if the kid got to go this way to get that way to get this way. Keep going, y'all. I'm out.